This country was once the dream of the world. Myanmar possesses everything from abundant and rich natural resources to an almost intact infrastructure system from the British colonial era. Not having experienced any major devastating wars, with available resources, it is no surprise that Myanmar once had the potential to become one of the most powerful and prosperous nations in Asia, surpassing even South Korea and Taiwan. However, Myanmar has now become one of Southeast Asia's major conflict zones, where numerous factions are engaged in warfare. So, how is this conflict unfolding? Is there any faction capable of winning and bringing peace to Myanmar? Or will the country continue to sink into a dark and brutal future with no end in sight to the war? The seeds of conflict in Myanmar were sown a long time ago. However, in today's video, we will focus on the period following the coup on February 1st, 2021, up to the present. In the future, we may provide more detailed and comprehensive information about the war here through higher quality videos. Therefore, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to receive notifications about the latest videos. Now, let's get into the main content. After the coup on February 1st, 2021, carried out by the Myanmar military, which overthrew the elected government of President Win Myint and Prime Minister Aung San Suu Kyi, uprisings against the coup and violent crackdowns erupted across the country. Many groups of protesters self-organized military training or joined forces that had seceded from the Myanmar government. Taking advantage of this situation, many independent armed groups intensified their activities, marking the beginning of a major war in Myanmar. One of the notable forces is the Kachin Independence Army, KIA. This is not a South Korean car manufacturer, but a military force established in 1961 with the goal of establishing an autonomous state for the Kachin people. This force was supported by the People's Liberation Army, PLA, the armed wing of the Communist Party of Burma, CPB, and officially reactivated on March 15, 2021. When communist fighters crossed the border from China and began operations in Myanmar, it is impossible not to mention the Communist Party of Burma, CPB, and its affiliated armed groups. One of the key forces is the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance, MND, an armed group primarily active in the Kokang region. Established in 1989 after breaking away from the communist government, on October 10th, MND allied with two other groups, the Arakan Army, AA, and the Tang National Liberation Army, TNLA, to form the Northern Alliance, one of the major opponents of the Myanmar military government, alongside the Kachin forces. In addition to the Northern Alliance, there is another group actively involved in the civil war, known as the 4K Alliance. This alliance includes the Karen National Liberation Army, KNLA, founded in 1960, the Karenni Army, KA, the armed wing of the Karenni National Progressive Party established in 1957, the Karen National Liberation Front, KNPLF, active since 2023, and the Karen National Defense Force, KNDF, established shortly after the coup in 2021. Although the 4K Alliance was officially formed in June 2023, its members had previously engaged in individual clashes with government forces. Next, we must mention the People's Defense Forces, PDF, established by the National Unity Government of the Federal Republic of Myanmar on May 5, 2021. This force consists of those opposing the coup and collaborates with various ethnic armed organizations from Mandalay, Bago, Sagaing, Chin, and Karen to launch an armed revolution against the military government. According to unofficial reports, the number of fighters in the PDF, including units from local armed groups, could reach up to 65,000, posing the greatest threat to the military government in Naypyidaw. Additionally, there are several other local armed groups participating in the conflict, though they are not as active and often tend to secede and self-govern their territories. At this point, we encourage you to take a moment to remember the key factions we have listed, as the nature of the war in Myanmar has unique characteristics not commonly found in other modern conflicts. Be sure to watch the video to the end for more details. The unique nature of the Myanmar civil war stems from the diversity of the fighting forces and the complex political context. Now let's review some of the most notable battles in this conflict. On March 13, 2021, the the conflict escalated significantly when the Kachin Independence Army, KIA, attacked a military base in the town of Moga. By March 25th, the KIA engaged in intense fighting with government forces in the Battle of Along Min, successfully capturing two military outposts. In response, the military government counterattacked by deploying two light infantry battalions and conducting 14 airstrikes. By mid-May 2021, the fighting paused temporarily. However, the KIA made headlines by capturing an enemy base. On May 23rd, the newly formed People's Defense Forces, PDF, had their first confrontation with government troops in the town of Myong in northern Sagaing region. At the same time, clashes between government forces and the Karen forces, along with other ethnic armed groups, also took place, forcing the military to use artillery to respond. By late July 2021, the intensity of the conflict began to decrease due to the COVID-19 wave crippling Myanmar's healthcare system. However, on September 7th, the National Unity Government of Myanmar declared a state of emergency and launched a people's war against the military government, leading to widespread uprisings and clashes. By December 2021, government forces deployed light infantry battalions to regain the initiative against opposition armed groups. However, most of the battles in Myanmar are fought in the form of small-scale skirmishes, with an average of about 30 casualties per battle. In response to the rising tide of resistance, the military government decided to reinforce elite units and deploy new weapons to quickly defeat the opposition forces. In turn, the People's Defense Forces, PDF, expanded their territorial control and launched attacks on military bases, police stations, and government offices. In January 2022, fierce fighting erupted between the Karen National Force, KNF, and government forces in the town of Loikaw in Karen State as the insurgents blocked supplies and attempted to capture strategic points. The government responded with bombers and helicopters. In February, the PDF ambushed government troops in Sagaing, resulting in numerous soldier casualties during an extended ambush. From March to May 2022, the military government conducted airstrikes on insurgent areas in Shan and Karen states, while the Karen National Liberation Army, KNLA, captured towns from the government. On June 12th, the 4 to 15 Infantry Battalion engaged in intense fighting with the PDF and KIA in Chin State, leading to retaliatory burning and sweeping operations. In August 2022, the Myanmar Civil War spread beyond its borders for the first time, as clashes between the Arakan Army and government forces caused mortar rounds to land in a refugee camp in Bangladesh, escalating tensions with the neighboring country. On August 12, 2022, the Myanmar government allied with a local militia in Sagaing, burning down hundreds of houses in Kachin State and defeating KIA forces. By September 16th, a government airstrike on a school in Let Yet Kon village, Sagaing, resulted in 28 children casualties. The government claimed that the village was harboring KIA and PDF fighters. From October to the end of December 2022, the Myanmar military implemented a four-cut strategy aimed at severing supplies to insurgent forces by burning villages and executing civilians. In response, the KIA, KNLA, Karen Liberation Army, and PDF increased recruitment and launched attacks on government bases. From November 21st to 25th, Myanmar's Air Force conducted bombing raids along the Sagaing and Kachin borders, disrupting insurgent supply lines. On November 30th, the government attacked the Mongko base controlled by the MND, but by December 17th, they were forced to withdraw from the Namsan battlefield after prolonged fighting. Despite intensifying the four-cut strategy in 2023, the government could not completely defeat the insurgent forces. Instead, opposition groups coordinated stronger attacks. At the same time, the Myanmar Civil War saw an increase in conflicts between various insurgent groups, primarily in Shan, Chin, and Karen states. Even the PDF faced resistance from some local armed forces. Despite facing numerous challenges, the insurgent forces continued to fight against the military government. On July 17, 2023, the PDF captured a government base in Kani District, Sagaing region, seizing a significant amount of weapons. On August 10th, government forces clashed with insurgent groups in Mayawati, Karen State, over control of the Light Infantry Division 606 headquarters, with the fighting lasting several days and resulting in casualties on both sides. On August 27, 2023, 11 resistance groups, including the PDF, launched drone attacks in Sagaing, causing significant damage to government forces. In response, on October 9th, the government bombarded Liza, the capital of the Kachin Independence Army, causing major losses among both soldiers and civilians. On October 27, 2023, the National Democratic Alliance Army and TLL, in coordination with the Arakan Army, launched Operation Thesn 27, aimed at maintaining territorial control and defeating the military government. Over 15,000 troops were mobilized, with fighting occurring across multiple fronts. The PDF and KNLA also participated in the operation, attacking Kain Seki, Karen State. On November 15th, the MND and AA surrounded and attacked Laokai, capturing several key outposts. Although government forces initially held their position with air support, on December 6, 2023, the MDA completed the capture of positions south of Laokai and established control after a brief negotiation period. On December 18, 2023, the fighting in Myanmar escalated further. The Myanmar Air Force conducted 3 airstrikes targeting MND positions in Tin Keng village near the gateway to Laokai. Despite continuous shelling, MND forces managed to capture several border crossings with China. By December 28th, they had gained full control of Laokai, marking a significant defeat for the Myanmar military government, as many of their counterinsurgency strategies proved ineffective. The year 2023 saw the Myanmar government struggling against the powerful resurgence of opposition forces. Many strategic strongholds fell into the hands of the insurgents, allowing them to bolster their forces and organize large-scale attacks. By early 2024, the remaining government units at the Laokai command post had surrendered, signaling a new and challenging phase for the Myanmar government. 3 days after the Laokai event, the Myanmar Air Force conducted airstrikes on Tamu town in the Sagaing region, but could not halt the attacks by the Northern Alliance, particularly the Arakan Army, on key areas in Rakhine, Chin, and Shan states. On January 18th, intense fighting erupted between the government and the Northern Alliance along the border with Mizoram State in India. On January 25, 2024, the Arakan Army captured the port town of Pa in Rakhine State. Following this, on January 31st, a joint force led by the Karen National Defense Organization carried out a drone attack, killing 2 government military commanders. On February 2nd, the Arakan Army defeated a light infantry battalion of the government after a fierce battle. From February to April 2024, the Arakan Army continued to lead the Northern Alliance, securing a series of significant victories, including the capture of Rakhine State, Kyaukta District, and Point View Town in Chin State. Meanwhile, the PDF also achieved many successes in Kachin and Mandalay states and inflicted considerable damage on the government air force. The situation became so severe that on May 1, 2024, the military government suspended all work permits for men abroad and prohibited them from leaving the controlled areas. From May to June, government forces continued to struggle, losing control of many villages, airports, and towns to the Arakan Army, PDF, and Kachin forces. Notably, on June 11th, the Kachin Independence Army captured the town of Sadon, cutting off all border trade routes in Kachin State. By July, the Arakan Army confirmed the capture of Thandwe Airport, while the PDF continued rocket attacks on several towns, further weakening the military government. On August 8th, the MND successfully captured the Northeast Command headquarters in Shan State, a strategically important area in Myanmar. The encirclement by rebel forces around the government military is increasingly tightening. The civil war in Myanmar is characterized by small-scale skirmishes between rebel groups and government forces, with no large battles capable of decisively resolving the situation. This conflict reflects the complexity of political and ethnic issues in Myanmar. After the coup, the military government has failed to develop the economy and build a strong administration, leading to the current state of chaos. Rebel groups are also divided by ethnic, religious, and war goals, with no group demonstrating overwhelming strength to dominate the entire country after the war. The future of Myanmar remains uncertain, and it is difficult to see a way out of the current cycle of violence. What are your views on this situation? Please leave your comments below.